Jesus, a life-giving spirit. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. We need the substance of Christ in everything we do. There is nothing we can do without Jesus Christ, the Christ of God. And He makes Himself available to us, not simply as someone who will come to our aid, but as someone who will reside in us and manifest Himself in our lives as our very life. He is a life-giving spirit. 1 Corinthians 15:45 says, and so it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. I want you to understand what the scripture really means. In John 12:24, Jesus says, most assuredly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain. That is the reality of the Christ who is in you. He is now Christ, who not only had 12 disciples and 70 by extension and maybe 500 others, but He is now Christ who is able to live in 6 billion people or more. Now that is amazing. I challenge you mathematicians and scientists to figure that out. That is who He is. One who in dying brought forth much fruit. What is amazing about Jesus is that He can indwell billions of people, and each person will have Christ in His fullness. There is no end to Him, and He is not diminished in the least by being resident in many. Furthermore, as He indwells us, He makes it possible for us to communicate with Him. And yes, He makes it possible to know Him. The historical Jesus was powerful. Awesome were His works among us. However, even though He was still fully God, His being fully human imposed some limitations. The resurrected Christ has no limitations. Therefore, He is even more awesome. We must know the resurrected Christ and what His life in us can produce in us, for us, and through us for the glory of His kingdom. Pastor Don.